Hey, I'm Olivia, and you're listening to Soarin' Around WDW. Welcome back, everybody. This week we are starting our next section of Park of the Present, our last section, and this is Animal Kingdom. So we are going to start off with the first half of the park and then move on to the rest of the park next week. But this first episode will cover the Oasis, Discovery Island, and Dinoland USA, which is soon to be converted to Tropical Americas. And we'll get into that here in just a little bit. But to start off, wanted to give some background on the Tree of Life. And the actual tree is the symbol of the park. It is not a real tree, which most people can tell. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb if you kind of see it against the tree line. But it is 145 feet tall, 50 feet around at its base, and shapes of more than 300 animals are carved into the tree. Of course, they had to include a hidden Mickey in there. And Disney says that it's an epic visual symbol of the diversity, beauty, and interconnected nature of Earth's creatures. The tree actually took 18 months to build and has more than 8,000 branches and roughly 102,000 artificial leaves. During its construction, there was a famous researcher, obviously most people know her, Jane Goodall, that insisted that a chimpanzee be one of the animals depicted. Specifically, she wanted it to be her chimpanzee that she worked with for a long time that was named David Graybeard. So that chimpanzee was carved into the Tree of Life. So this tree is incredibly impressive. If you've been to Animal Kingdom and you haven't had the chance to go up close and look at it, it really is amazing. I remember when we first went there shortly after it opened, because it opened in 1998, we moved to Florida in 1999 and went to Animal Kingdom a good bit in the early 2000s, especially. And it was amazing to see up close. I mean, they really put a lot of detail into the actual tree. So yeah, it's really neat. And then moving over into the attractions, the first attraction we're going to talk about is really more of just an exhibit area. This is the Oasis exhibits. It is listed as an attraction on the map. This was original to the park on opening day, April 22nd, 1998. And it was really built to help kind of funnel some of the people out of other busier sections of the park. Per the Disney website, it says explore the untamed beauty of the natural world, stroll shady trails past gentle waterfalls, meandering streams, lush flora, and fascinating creatures. Keep your eyes open for local residents of the oasis, giant anteaters, babirussas, barking deer, wallabies, and spoonbills. From touringplans.com, they talked about a sign that identifies the animals, and each exhibit is listed, but there's actually no guarantee the animals will be immediately visible, obviously. You kind of have to stay around and concentrate looking for small movements throughout the vegetation. And when you do actually spot the animal, you usually only see their shadowy figure. Sometimes you can see a leg or a tail, but they're not often always out in plain sight like they are at other zoos. They try to really make these areas, some of these exhibit areas, homes for these animals. And so where they're comfortable, they might go hide, get some rest away from all the people, unlike a lot of zoo exhibits where they're out in the open for everybody to see all the time. And the Oasis is also a place to kind of appreciate the animals, but it is usually not seen by a lot of Disney guests because people are rushing through to get to the big attractions and often miss these smaller areas. So if you run away right in the morning to the back of the park, this is kind of right at the entrance. And so it's a good thing to catch on your way out if you have time, if you're in a hurry for a rope drop in the morning. It does usually close 30 to 60 minutes after the rest of the park. So you usually can do it on your way out if it's closing time. I don't know many people that stay at the park all day like that, but it is something that you can do. What do you remember about this, Dad?
Yeah, I remember walking past those or maybe running past those as we typically would do, what a
Yeah.
lot of people would do is just tear into the park and get to the attractions. 'Cause for us, for whatever reason, that was always kind of a half day park. After lunch, 1, 2 o'clock, we'd typically go back to our hotel if we were doing the hotel thing or race over to another park because we always had the park, hopper annual passes. So yeah,
Yep.
I know we stopped here a few times, maybe on the way out, like they mentioned, which makes sense because it's open longer. but we never spent a lot of time there. And they're right. You rarely sometimes you could never find the animals that are supposed to be in there, which is great. I'm glad they're taking care of them that way, and that's all good. But yeah, we never spent much time there.
Yeah, and it's something that I think when Animal Kingdom was first built, we talked about this a lot in our Parks of the Past episode for Animal Kingdom, but that it was not built to be a zoo. They had all these commercials back in the 2000s that were like, not a zoo, because they didn't want people to think that was the purpose. But this section really does feel a little bit
Mhm.
more zoo-like with the animal exhibits. And it's just not something that you necessarily go there for when you have the safari attraction or other really neat animal attractions throughout the park. It's definitely not top priority, but something that they do offer and has still been open as original to the park. And then moving over to Wilderness Explorers, this attraction opened June 1st, 2013, and it's listed as an attraction. It's more like the DuckTales quest in Epcot, where it's a self-paced kind of scavenger hunt that kids of all ages can participate. Anyone can participate. It does not have to be kids. And participants earn badges throughout the park, just like Russell from Up did as a wilderness explorer. And you get to learn about different skills, fossils, conservation. And it's a free activity, which is a word that we don't often hear throughout the Disney parks. It's a great way to kind of extend the park day and make it a full or a longer day experience at Animal Kingdom. If you're spending an entire day there and you're not hopping or you want to spend more than just half a day, if you're spending the money to go, this is a great way to kind of add some time to the park, give your kids something to do, and check off at each of the little stations. And the Wilderness Explorers headquarters is located kind of at the end of the bridge as you enter into the main Discovery Island. And as you go about your day, you'll find different cast members who work for the Wilderness Explorer booths, and they're stationed throughout the park. And at each station, there's a troop leader or a badge guide that will teach you more about a specific topic, such as an endangered species, fossils, or recycling. Then you receive a sticker to commemorate earning your badge. And the badge locations kind of vary. There might be different stops in each location. So these are the spots that they have currently listed, which this might change with the update of Dinoland. But there is one in Discovery Island. There are actually, it says there's two by the flamingos. And then the Pandora section of the park close to the main entrance near the walkway to Africa. In Africa, there's one near Kilimanjaro Safaris and along Goris Falls Trail. In Rafiki's Planet Watch, there's one along the main pathway at the conservation station. And in Asia, there's a troop leader post near Yak and Yeti, near the entrance to the Maharaja Jungle Trek, and along the Maharaja Jungle Trek itself, and again near Expedition Everest. And right now in Dinoland USA, there's one near Dinosaur, also one in the Boneyard, and one where the Chester and Hester's gift shop is. So I'm not sure if they've moved that one to a different location now or where that one is. But another huge plus for this particular activity is that unlike the DuckTales hunt in Epcot, this one does not actually involve your phone usage at all, which is great. So it's something that kids can do independently. I know our local zoo has a similar thing where you collect so many stickers or badges, and then at the end you get a little token, and it just gives the kids something to look forward to when they complete all of the stations. It looks like for this, they get a little badge saying that they're a wilderness explorer and they've completed all of the tasks for the day. Is this something that you guys ever did with Makayla Dad, or have you seen this there? Did they have something similar when we were kids? I can't remember.
I don't know if they had it when you were kids or with. I don't remember doing it with Makayla either. So I don't remember this at all. I don't think we ever took the time to do this. This it just doesn't sound familiar at all.
Yeah, and this is a park that out of all four is definitely the least that we've visited. We've been many, many times, but it's definitely out of all of them the one that we don't go to as much just because there's not quite as many things to do. But this would be something that would be right up my oldest alley. She loves collecting little stamps and learning and getting to do little activities. So it would definitely be fun to try if we were ever at Animal Kingdom for a whole day. And then it's Tough to Be a Bug, which is actually now closed as of the airing of this episode. It closed on March 16th, 2025, and moving to Zootopia Zoogether, which is opening in winter 2025. So It's Tough to Be a Bug is going to go in the vault for another Disney Parks of the Past episode because its closing kind of fell in this weird time period between our Parks of the Past Animal Kingdom episode and this Parks of the Present Animal Kingdom episode. And we'll have to kind of cover Zootopia a little bit more once it opens. But for now, this is what we know that is slated to come to this section of the park for this attraction. The show is coming to the Tree of Life in the Animal Kingdom in the same exact theater where It's Tough to Be a Bug was. So it was a pretty cheap renovation. They obviously had to remove the animatronics from Bug's Life and then put in whatever they're going to be doing for Zootopia. But the rest of it is just a screen. So they really just had to film and create the 3D show for this theater. And this was announced on September 9th, 2023 at the Destination D23 that it would be replacing the show It's Tough to Be a Bug. And it's centered around the Zootopia movie and will feature characters from the film, mostly the main characters, Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, which are really fun characters. And concept art does also show certain characters like Gazelle, Chief Bogo, Yax, Finnick, Frou Frou, Flash, Priscilla, Duke Weaselton, and Lemmings, which hopefully implies that these characters will appear in the show, but it kind of depends on what the final product ends up being. The show will also include this animatronic Clawhauser, according to the concept art, similar to the one that they have in the Zootopia Hot Pursuit attraction that's featured in the Zootopia Land in Shanghai Disneyland, which looks like a really, really cool ride. So I'm looking forward to this. Have you seen Zootopia, Dad, the first one?
Don't hate me, but no.
Oh my gosh, it's really cute. No, it's really good. And the second one is actually coming out at Thanksgiving, November 26th, 2025. The teaser trailer just came out a few weeks ago and it looks adorable. We really like the cast of the movie. The main cast, the people that are, the main characters. So Judy Hopps is Jennifer Goodwin, and then Nick Wilde is Jason Bateman, and Shakira is in the movie. There's just a lot of really good cast members in the film, and it's really adorable. It's not super musical. It's more of just a storyline, so it doesn't quite hold Blake's attention that much, but Eiley really likes it, and it's one that we watched a few times with her. So we're looking forward to the second one coming out. So I think this will be a good show. I loved Bug's Life. It was a great movie, but that show was kind of scary. So I think it was time to do something different here. So I'm looking forward to them changing it up a little bit. What do you think about the change? Do you think it was okay to get rid of It's Tough to Be a Bug, or do you think that was like a classic that needed to stay?
I think it was time. It's been there a long time. We've gone in that a couple of times. I know we took you kids when you were young.
Yeah.
I remember taking Michaela and my wife Doreen in there. I always thought it was kind of funny when I think the bees sting you and it pokes you in the back a little bit or something
Yeah.
like that, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
I remember that part. I guess I can't remember the whole movie because I've only been in there maybe 4 or 5 times. That was some time ago now, but it's probably time to try something different. And if Zootopia is that good, which you're saying it is, and I've heard a lot of other people say it's a good movie. That should be a good replacement for Tough to Be a Bug. So yeah, it should be. Look forward to checking it out. And someday I'll watch the movie, but without young kids around, we just don't catch those Disney movies very often anymore. When you have young kids or
Yeah.
grandkids or something, you're more apt to sit down and watch a Disney movie. But yeah, those days are not around as much anymore. So anyway,
Yeah, it's a cute one. It's a cute movie. I'm looking forward to what they do with it. And the Shanghai land looks awesome. It's definitely a huge reason why I'd love to get over to Shanghai. But yeah, it's coming soon. So they haven't given an exact opening date. They just said winter 2025. So people aren't sure if that means November, December, kind of where that falls. They did specifically say 2025, so it should be before the end of the year, but we'll see. And the curiosity will be when they open this, are they going to start to close more over in Dino Land? Like, will Dinosaur close? Will the Boneyard close? Because they're going to start trying to rework some of that for Tropical Americas. So we'll see. So the Discovery Island trails are the next attraction, and these opened shortly after opening day. This was May 24th, 1998. And this, on Animal Kingdom's opening day, Discovery Island was actually called Safari Village. And when the trails opened a few weeks later, they were called the Tree of Life Gardens. These names were necessary because Discovery Island was the name to a different island in Bay Lake on the Disney property. That island was still open to guests at the time and was home to a number of different animal exhibits. We'll have to do an entire episode on some of these abandoned Disney areas to discuss this a little bit more. But when Discovery Island and Bay Lake closed in April 1999, Safari Village was renamed Discovery Island, and the Tree of Life Gardens were christened to Discovery Island Gardens, which then was changed later to what it's currently known as Discovery Island Trails. And many of the animals from the former Discovery Island in Bay Lake were moved to the new Discovery Island location in Animal Kingdom. So the Discovery Island trails are more of a self-guided walking trail around the Tree of Life in Disney's Animal Kingdom. And along the trail are a number of observation stations where you can view different animals like otters, kangaroos, as well as the animals. You can also find waterfalls, wooden footbridges, cave-like tunnels, and quiet spots to sit and enjoy nature kind of peacefully. As a self-guided walking path, the Discovery Island trails have no line, but there are two different ways to enter the path. One is just before the bridge from Discovery Island to Africa. It's right across from Creature Comforts. And the other is to the right of the Tree of Life near the bridge to Asia. Since the trail is a little bit hidden, some people walk right past it and wouldn't even know that it's there. You usually don't see a lot of crowds, and you can take as long as you want or spend, not a lot of time at all. Unlike some other paths at Disney World, on this one, you can turn around and go out the way that you came if you want to. It's not one way. And since the entrances and exits are close to Pandora, Africa, and Asia sections of the park, it's a great way to kind of burn some time while you're waiting for your lightning lane or something else, dinner reservation, lunch reservation at the park. You can also enjoy the waterfalls and explore the tunnels that are created by the root system of the tree. And you can get up close to the Tree of Life where you can really see those carvings up close and personal, which is really cool. Along the way are also different spots to view animals like we talked about. So otters, kangaroos, flamingos, porcupines, cranes, Galapagos tortoises, and more. And with the park's other viewing trails, there's different signs and information about the species that are in the exhibits. You could walk through this in as quick as about 10 minutes if you're not really stopping to look at things, but you can take a lot longer if you want to. Strollers are allowed, and the paths are actually fully wheelchair accessible as well, which is really nice. So you don't have to park the stroller and worry about which side you left it on. You can take it right with you. I know that we've walked through these trails. It is really easy to miss. It's kind of right to the right of It's Tough to Be a Bug entrance or where that used to be, but I haven't done it in a long time. I think this is where somebody was caught recently, which we talked about in Disney News, climbing up the Tree of Life on the carvings, and people are just getting crazy. But do you remember walking on these trails in particular, Dad, that you could get a closer look at the carvings of the tree?
Yeah, I always wondered. I know back in the day, I was like, how do you get closer to those carbines? Because I knew they were really elaborate, super cool. Of course, they're concrete carvings. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's not like they're carving out of a real tree, but they're pretty impressive. Some of them are really large. It's like, okay, so I remember reading in one of the Disney guides how you can get in there and walk around there. And we've done it a few times, but I thought it was you're right. It's very quiet. I don't remember hardly seeing anybody there because most people don't even know it's there. A
Yeah.
lot of people are racing to an attraction or whatever, eating or something. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting. And next time I go to Animal Kingdom, I'll probably check that out again because it's been a long time since I've done that.
Yeah, I know in the Tough to Be a Bug queue, you can get another like very close look at a lot of the carvings. I think that's what I kind of remember seeing those up at close and personal. But yeah, we love otters. That's one of our favorite animals to look at the zoo. So it'd be fun to go back there and get to see their little area for sure. And then the Adventures Outpost, this is just more of like a character meet and greet spot. This opened May 13th, 2013, and you can meet Minnie and Mickey in their cute little safari gear. I don't know much else about this because we have not ever done this one since it opened, but it would definitely be on our list because their outfits are adorable and the kids always love meeting Minnie and Mickey. So this is one that usually has a posted wait time, so you at least have some kind of an idea of how long you'll be waiting. But yeah, it's a really neat area of to meet the characters right there near the front of the park. And then the Boneyard, this is actually a playground area that we frequented, or I should say Regan frequented while we rode Dinosaur many times back in the day. This was opened with the park as well, April 22nd, 1998. And the premise or backstory of this playground, which was funny when I was researching this, I was like, oh, they have a little history. I had no idea of this section of the playground. But it says the Boneyard is the primary dig site of the Dino Institute. And in 1947, amateur fossil hunters uncovered the remains of a Tyrannosaurus rex, and work on the site has been ongoing ever since, with the Dino Institute being established in 1949. It's themed as this active dinosaur dig site that some of the students treat as a playground when they aren't busy doing their digs. So they have different scaffolding and tubes that become obviously more like a jungle gym with slides. And they have different hoses that are supposed to be used for cleaning mud off bones that become weapons for water fights. Different specimens that they have hidden throughout the Boneyard Playground include the original Tyrannosaurus skeleton discovery. And then this kind of illustrates how dinosaurs have changed. There's this little sign there kind of showing more about that and the history of discovering different dinosaur bones. A dinosaur track site of prints from a sauropod and theropod, which is supposed to be evidence of a chase. And then when guests stomp on the prints, dinosaur sounds play. There's, gosh, I'm going to totally butcher how you say this, but there's a Pachycephalosaurus. There's entangled skulls of two triceratops that is supposed to, represent them dying in combat with each other. There's a Parasaurolophus, a mounted Brachiosaurus cast from the Field Museum, crowning the Olden Gate Bridge that connects two sides of the Boneyard and serves as an entry gate for Dinoland in general. You kind of walk underneath it into Dinoland. And there's a Columbian mammoth, which is supposed to be this fossil dig sandbox on the opposite side of the bridge. So the playground is really neat. I remember thinking it was really cool between this and the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids playground in Hollywood Studios. These are good areas that they used to have where you would go and just take a little bit of a break, or for kids who weren't into big, crazy theme rides, it's a great place for them to wait it out versus having to just like sit and wait for their family members to be done. The other, adult can take them to the play area. Do you remember going in here with Regan as a kid, Dad?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think we went in to do the boneyard dig thing a little bit, but I think Regan got kind of bored with that. I remember climbing going through the tubes and all that, and climbing all those rope.
Yeah,
I don't know what you call that, rope scaffolding or whatever. It was all over the place, and you could climb up it and then go across these rope bridges all over the place. And I mean, that was
yeah.
pretty cool. We did that. The three of us did that quite often. I remember going there and and coming back soaked because you're sweating so bad. It's the middle of the summer. It's
Yeah.
super humid. You're climbing around in there. But yeah, we had a lot of fun running around in that area when you guys were little.
Yeah, I'm curious when they retheme this land if they're going to get rid of I mean, I'm sure it won't be the boneyard anymore because that won't necessarily make sense. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I hope they keep a playground area for kids in this section because it's just a great way to take a break for the kids that don't want to go on the more thrilling rides in this part of the park. And then the next attraction is Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond. This version of the attraction opened June 13th, 2002, but the original show, which was called Finding Nemo the Musical, started holding previews on November 5th, 2006 and officially opened January 24th, 2007. The music is composed by Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez, who composed the music for Frozen. And they do use direct lines from the film Finding Nemo in the show. It's basically a very recapped version of the entire movie. I have not seen the newer version that opened in 2022, but I had seen the original version a good amount of times. On March 15th, 2020, the original show had its final performance before the Walt Disney World Resort closed because of COVID, and a new reimagined and revamped version of the show, which is called Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond, premiered June 13th, 2022, and it opened as part of the Walt Disney World 50th anniversary celebration. So, what used to be there was a show called Tarzan Rocks, and that was a frequented show by our family. We went every single time we went to Animal Kingdom, and we really loved that show. So, seeing that leave was devastating because it had live music, it had live performers. They picked kids in the beginning to announce the show, and I did find some pictures of Regan and I announcing the show. I'm pretty sure we have video footage too. I should look for that and post it on Instagram, but that'll definitely be our throwback picture for this episode because we loved Tarzan Rocks. So when they enclosed the theater and made it into this Nemo show, I really loved Nemo, but it's not, to me, it's not anywhere near what Tarzan Rocks was. You've seen both shows, Dad, right? You've seen Nemo and obviously we saw Tarzan Rocks, but have you seen the Nemo show?
I've seen it a few times a number of years ago. I thought it was good, but I always got sad when I went in there because of Tarzan Rocks being gone. And those people might think we're nuts, but
Yeah.
we we went to that a lot when your kids were young, and the music was great, and the movie and Bill Collins songs and stuff. I just thought, I got a little sad walking in there. I know that sounds strange, but it was like, oh, where's Tarzan Rocks? But yeah, Finding Nemo, it's cute. I don't know if it's Broadway caliber, but it's a nice show.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a longer show. It's 40 minutes long, which is a long time to have kids sit there. And I know it's geared towards a lot like, young kids because it's Finding Nemo. And the actors do a really good job. It's like kind of puppeteering. But it's just not the same. The live music of the other show and the people on the rollerblades and the dancers and it was just, yeah, it's definitely that's the show that I missed the most, I think, out of all the shows at Disney parks. I wish that they would somehow bring that one back and it fit perfect with Animal Kingdom. So in January 2006, there were rumors that began to spread that this would be closing, Tarzan Rocks would be closing, and it would be replaced by this musical adaptation of Finding Nemo. It was confirmed April 7th, 2006 when Disney announced that the musical adaptation of Finding Nemo with new songs written by the people that we mentioned earlier, Robert Lopez and his wife, would combine puppets, dancers, acrobats, and animated backdrops. And it did open later that year. Years after it opened, Anderson Lopez explained that she had written this compact 15-minute a cappella version of the story of Oedipus. Someone at Disney read it and recognized her talent for condensing material and offered her the opportunity to condense this Finding Nemo story into a show for Disney World. And so it's obviously based very strictly on the plot of Finding Nemo. There's these characters in large puppetry and live actors and dancers on stage. And in the revamped version that opened in 2022, a framing device was added in which the tank gang narrate the story before being released from the Marine Life Institute, which is what's depicted in Finding Dory. So the actual capacity of the theater, it is very large. Seats 1,500 people per show. It's 40 minutes long, and there's usually about 6 showtimes per day. So it's a cute one if you have young kids. It's not one to skip, but we'll kind of get into other shows here as we go through this park, but it's definitely not my favorite of the park. I do, again, miss Tarzan Rocks a lot. I preferred that much more, but it's a cute show for what it is. And if you like Nemo, if your kids like Nemo, it's a good one. And then the last attraction in this section of the park is the classic dinosaur attraction. This opened officially with the park, but known as the original version and the original name, which was Countdown to Extinction on April 22nd, 1998. It is a dark ride EMV attraction. It does have a 40-inch height requirement, which is taller than I thought. The Indiana Jones height requirement is so that's interesting. So the attraction currently, Dinosaur, is a 40-inch height requirement. The Indiana Jones attraction at Disneyland, which is, I believe, the same ride vehicle and very similar pathway, you have to be 46 inches tall. So I wonder why there's such a discrepancy, and I wonder if that will change when they retheme this ride. But first, to get into Dinosaur, because it is still open, they have not put a closing date on it yet, but it will be closing and be changed into Indiana Jones, a new attraction. It will not be a mirror image of the one in Disneyland. It's going to have a unique storyline. But this ride was named with this ride's name changed from Countdown to Extinction to Dinosaur in 2000 to promote the Disney feature film with the same name. And while it was revealed that the attraction had become part of the Dino Institute, however, the two dinosaurs most prominently featured in the ride are the Iguanodon and the Carnotaurus, which are both featured prominently in the actual movie Dinosaur. Scenes from the movie also do appear in the pre-show to help guests identify the iguanodon as the film's protagonist, Aladar. I remember this movie coming out and people saying it was going to be this big deal, and Regan was very into dinosaurs at the time, but I don't know that I have watched it again in a long time. I think we had it on VHS, but do you remember seeing this movie at all?
I think I saw it once, even run through the plot or something. I couldn't tell you. Apparently didn't make much of a mark on my brain. I don't think it was very successful. Right. We would
Yeah.
have known if it was successful over time, but I just don't think. I think it was more of a bust type movie, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a bust movie. And on August 10th, 2024, at the D23 Expo, it was announced that the Indiana Jones attraction would be replacing Dinosaur, estimated sometime to open in 2027, so still a ways away. The closure date of Dinosaur has yet to be announced. People think that it will be on New Year's Eve of this year because they said you have all the way through 2025 to ride it, and then the entire overhaul of the ride will take place during 2026. The pre-show is very memorable and nostalgic for a lot of Disney lovers. Guests enter the small standing theater to watch the pre-show film where Dr. Helen Marsh, who is played by Felicia Rashad, director of the fictional Dino Institute, introduces the Time Rover, which is the vehicle designed to transport guests to the age of the dinosaurs. She emphasizes that the tour is set for the early Cretaceous period. And then the feed switches to Dr. Grant Seeker, who's played by Wallace Langham, and he is in control of the center and reveals his secret plan, which is to take guests on an unauthorized mission to rescue an iguanodon at the end of the Cretaceous period. As Dr. March briefly steps away, Seeker overrides the coordinates, the doors open, and Seeker reminds the guests that they're on this top secret mission to bring back the dino. So after the pre-show, you go into the Dino Institute's underground research facility and board your time rover. And it's supposed to be this calm tour of the early Cretaceous period. Obviously, goes quickly off script when Dr. Seeker overrides the system to rescue the iguanodon from extinction. Alarms sound, and the rover blasts through the time tunnel, sending guests into a prehistoric world filled with towering dinosaurs, dense forests, and a growing threat of this asteroid impact. Along the way, you encounter different species like the Styracosaurus, Parasol, oh my gosh, I can't even say this, Parasaurolophus, and the menacing Carnotaurus, I cannot say any of these dinosaur names, who relentlessly chases the vehicle. Meteors fall and time is running out, and so the iguanodon miraculously helps the rover escape just before the asteroid strikes. The vehicle returns and you are safe in the present, where Dr. Seeker celebrates the mission's success despite the chaos, and guests exit through the gift shop, which, if you look at the TV monitors, you see the iguanodon is now loose in the Institute, and Dr. Marsh is not too happy about it. So the theming of this ride is awesome. I think as a young kid, it is really intense and scary, and there's a lot of huge animatronics in this ride, but then a lot of sections where it just kind of falls flat and there's just like these hanging dinosaurs and they're not moving and there's just some like flashing lights. So there's sections that are really intense and really cool. I mean, the T-Rex animatronic is insane. It's like blows my mind how big that is for its time, and what they did with this attraction. It would be a really interesting ride to see with the lights on. I don't think I've ever seen it with the lights on, but I have been stuck on this ride before at the end where the dinosaur is coming at your face and it just kept playing over and over, like the loud roaring and the dinosaur coming for like 10 minutes. And I was actually with Maddie's sister and I was terrified. I was like, okay, let's get off this ride. But what do you remember about this attraction, Dad? I know we went on it quite a number of times when we were younger.
I know you and I went on it quite a bit. I don't know how much. I'm sure Regan did at some point.
Yeah,
And he
not
was
when he
kind
was
of scared of
younger.
stuff like this, real loud, loud noises and things. I think it would have been pretty much you and me going on this. I thought it was good. Some of you would want to bring probably young kids on because I still think it's very intense.
Yeah.
It's loud. You're getting shook all over the place in that
Yeah.
Jeep vehicle. I mean, that's maybe the Indiana Jones ride. Maybe they shake you around even more. Maybe that's why the height requirement is a little taller. That's all I can think of why it would be different
Yeah.
because the vehicle is very similar. But yeah, I always enjoyed it. Will I miss it? Not really. I think Indiana Jones will be a lot better since we're all big fans of that. So yeah, but it's been a good ride, and I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, same here. I'm excited for something new. I like the Indiana Jones ride a lot at Disneyland, so I'm curious to see how that turns out with its own storyline. I'm glad they're not just copy pasting the ride from Disneyland over to Disney World. So I'm looking forward to something different. It does really whip you around, though. I agree. I mean, it is pretty rough. And some fun facts about this ride. It's interesting that McDonald's actually sponsored the ride initially, and there are still red, yellow, and white pipes in the boarding station, which were meant to remind you of ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise. And if you have really good eyes, you will see that in the loading area, there is a notice on the wall that reads Sector CTX underscore WDW underscore AK98. And that's supposed to be a nod to the countdown to extinction. And AK-98 is obviously Animal Kingdom and opened in 1998. So all these little Easter egg things that they hide that if you go on it enough times you're looking for these things. The time rovers for Dinosaur do look kind of like big Jeeps, and each Jeep accommodates 12 guests, and there are 4 guests per row. So it's a decent sized vehicle. They have a lot of vehicles. I didn't look up exactly how many. But yeah, this attraction, it will be missed, but looking forward to seeing what they do with it and to see if the height requirement changes. I was a little disappointed because, as you know, at Disneyland, we are looking forward to Eiley getting to ride Indiana Jones, but she is definitely not 46 inches. So that was kind of a bummer for us. And then dining options. So there actually was a lot more dining than I had realized in this section of the park when I initially was going through this. The first restaurant that's listed for this section is actually the Rainforest Cafe, and this was original to the park's opening on April 22nd, 1998. It's technically part of the park, but you can also eat here without having a park ticket, and sometimes you don't even need a reservation. It was interesting to me that they included this here because there is another Rainforest Cafe location on Disney property in Disney Springs. And now, why they have two, that totally befuddles me because Disney Springs also has a T-Rex cafe, which is the same exact concept, but with dinosaurs. So I kind of wish that they would have done, one or the other. I don't really think we need three of this very similar restaurants within Disney property. And this can be a fun place to eat for kids and adults as well, but it can also be extremely noisy and might frighten small children. Kind of depends on how your kids do with loud noises and flashing lights and things like that. They do serve breakfast, which I did not know, as well as lunch and dinner. And they have a totally separate gluten sensitive menu with a lot of items too. Disney tries to be pretty good about allergy stuff. They do have a very large menu with typical American food, usually includes things like salads, burgers, pasta, pizza for lunch and dinner food. And the pricing ranges to $15 to $30 per entree. The kids' menu items are about $12 each. I don't know, I don't ever remember eating at this location of Rainforest Cafe, but we did eat at it in Disney Springs. Did we eat here, Dad, ever?
I think we did once when we knew we could go in there and not have to have a ticket, even though most of the time we had annual passes, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was never very impressed with it. The surroundings are cool, and all the dinosaur nods, all over. I thought the food was, if I remember right, I thought the food was terrible. It's like this was really disappointing. It's almost like you're paying for the atmosphere, and the food just fell short.
Yeah. Yeah, every time we eat there, I remember thinking it's expensive for what it is food wise. Like, I think the kids' mac and cheese is literally a box of Kraft mac and cheese that they charge you $12 for. I think it's supposed to be the experience. It's not my favorite food. We've eaten at the dinosaur one another time with the kids in Disney Springs, and it's cute, but it's definitely not my favorite. There's so many other better places to eat on Disney property and other cool experiences that this is definitely is a skip for me. I would be fine with them getting rid of this or retheming it to something else. And then there is the Eight Spoon Cafe. This opened May 29th, 2001. And this is listed as snacks with things like baked mac and cheese. You can get it plain with barbacoa or pulled pork on top, as well as regular churros or family churros, which are little mini churros with dipping sauces. They do have chips, ice cream bars, and Mickey pretzels. And the cost is kind of between $15 to $16 or between $5 to $16. The yummy looking drink that is served here that I do want to try is called the Simba drink, and it's a mango flavored slushy with grenadine and two gummy candies. And they do also have alcoholic options like Corona, the Island Sunrise, which is like tequila with Minute Maid passion fruit, orange guava juice, and watermelon. But the Simba one I've seen pictures of, and that looks up my alley, like a sugary slushy with gummy candies in it. It sounds great. And those are about 11 to $15 for the alcoholic beverages, 5 to 7 for non-alcoholic beverages. So just a little snack station. Have you ever stopped here, Dad? Probably not, because this, I don't know. I don't remember. It's probably changed so much too over the years, the menu.
I'm sure. I don't remember it. Of course, Rainforest Cafe and some of the other ones we'll talk about. I do remember, and we ate at, but yeah, that was definitely one I don't think we ever stopped at.
Yeah. The feeding ground was listed as well, and this is really just actually a popcorn stand. They do have some beverage options. They have some alcoholic options like Island Margarita, Frozen Mango Rum, Island Punch, and Safari Amber, but otherwise it's just really a popcorn stand. And Flame Tree Barbecue. So this one, it's funny. Everybody talks about this restaurant, and I thought it was new. I don't know if the menu has changed a lot, but it was actually their opening day of the park,
Mhm.
and it was they offer obviously barbecue, but they do have some unique frozen drinks. So for non-alcoholic options like a frozen mango as well as frozen raspberry slushies and the or you can get the tropical breeze, which is the two combined. They're about $10 a piece. Lots of alcoholic options including the bubbling pink lagoon with vodka, and this is Minute Maid, strawberry lemonade, Sprite, and kiwi flavor, as well as an Island Breeze, which is coconut rum with layers of frozen mango and raspberry, a rotten apple, which actually sounds delicious to me, Angry Orchard crisp apple cider with Fireball cinnamon whiskey, which are two of my favorite things, with gummy worms. I'm like, oh man, twist my arm. And then some wine and beer options. The entrees here are things like ribs and chicken combinations, baked mac and cheese with pulled pork, a smoked pulled pork sandwich, chicken salad option, like basically smoked chicken over salad options, and they kind of range from 12 to $19 each. They have French fries with or without cheese, black garlic parmesan truffle fries, cornbread, rice and beans, and these are $5 to $9 each. And the dessert listed, which looks really good, is called a flamingo cupcake, and it's strawberry cake with strawberry compote filling, guava buttercream, and pink crispy pearls, a sugar flamingo, and white chocolate wings for $6.29. And this is very high on my list to try because, yeah, I didn't realize that it was opening day at the park. I guess because growing up, we mostly went to Pizzafari or Restaurantosaurus. We didn't always go to places like this, but did we eat here? Have you eaten here, Dad?
I never have, but I did when you had it on your list here. I did recognize the name and walking past that many times. But you're right. We normally hit pizza or something like that, and we weren't always in the park. Like we mentioned, all day. It was kind of a half day thing, and we might have grabbed something for lunch, or maybe we picked up lunch over at the Magic Kingdom or something, and
Yeah.
probably just spent a lot of time eating there, from what I can remember.
Yeah, one of the things that I realized when I was doing research about this park is a lot of people love it because of the unique food options, especially in the more recent years, which we'll get into. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I want to try this sometime when we go there. It's definitely on my list to try. And then the Isle of Java, this is obviously a coffee place, but they do have breakfast food that includes a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich, as well as some pastries like a large Mickey cinnamon roll, which sounds great, Mickey shaped pretzel, churro, chocolate chip cookies, and a tiger tail, which is supposed to be similar to the Cheshire cat tail at Magic Kingdom. They're all about $7 except the cookie, which is 5. And they do have, of course, coffee options, but also some specialty beverages, Minute Maid lemonade. They have this macaw specialty beverage, which is lemonade, Fanta, which is the cherry flavor, and blue raspberry slushy. And that also sounds delicious. They have frozen Coke with rum and an island cappuccino, which is like white spiced rum and white chocolate for $15 each. So a lot of little, just like kind of a little stop option here. I'm guessing similarly, I don't remember this being open specifically when we were younger. And again, we didn't stop a lot of places for food, but I could not find an opening date on that one. And then the Tiffin's restaurant, this is a more recent addition. It came May 27th, 2016. And this is a more unique experience, higher, price range, and it's called a signature dining experience. There are three elegant dining rooms kind of honoring the spirit of Africa, Asia, and some of the world's most exotic animals. And Tiffin's is also home to the Nomad Lounge Bar. And appetizers here are $15 to $20 each for appetizers, which is pretty steep. But they include things like bread service, pineapple pork belly, lobster mac and cheese, fried cauliflower, a charcuterie board, charred octopus, mushroom bao buns, and salads. And the entrees are again very pricey. That's why it's called signature dining. But they range from $40 to $70 each. And they include things like a steep $40 for a signature burger, this Oaxaca pork duo, shrimp and grits, short rib, fish of the day, and a regional curry tasting. The desserts include things like this champorado chocolate bar. They also have this spiced chocolate ganache, Modelo Negra mousse, dulce de leche, and passion fruit lime sauce with chili meringue. And you can make it with, oh, it actually does contain alcohol products within it. And then this white chocolate orange creme blue, oh my gosh, white chocolate orange creme brulee, blueberry cardamom curd. And they also have roasted street corn, tres leches, which is this corn cake. They have seasonal sorbet trios that comes with, different flavors of sorbet. So the dessert options are very exotic for sure. They do have a lot of specialty beverages, which had some fun names. The Lamu Libation. They also have the Snow Leopard Salvation, the Tempting Tigress Russell's Reserve, Leaping Lizard. So lots of fun alcoholic names. They're all about like $18 each. And then non-alcoholic fun little options like the Zinneberger Fizzy. They do also have the Kiyama Mama, which is watermelon and Sprite, and the Balinese Breeze Mountain Berry Tea, which is basically like simple syrup and lemon juice. And the Nomad Lounge, which is the lounge section of this restaurant, it opened at the same time as the main restaurant in 2016. There's small plates like a tuna poke bowl, Bangkok chicken wings, pineapple glazed pork belly, Korean barbecue mushroom bao buns, the grilled chicken satay, and the Tiffin's bread service, as well as churros and Cuban Frita sliders that all range from about $10 to $18. This is the kind of restaurant that you've got to have the money to pay for, and I would way rather spend my money elsewhere than on expensive food like this. But assuming you also feel similarly, Dad.
Yeah, yeah. If I can't pronounce the food, I'm probably not buying it. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's very exotic. I know a lot of people, say, especially the lounge section, that it's really cool to stop in there and they have a lot of unique drink options, but just not really up our alley very much. And then Pizza Fari, this was a frequented stop by us. It opened April 22nd, 1998 with the park, and they do offer mango and strawberry slushies. You can do layered or individual, as well as Blue Lagoon lemonade, which is lemonade, citrus, and gummy worms. And those are about $9 to $10 each. The alcoholic options here include the Sunset Haven, which is Captain Morgan mango and strawberry slushy, and Blue Lagoon lemonade that just has rum added to it for $14 to $17 each. Chicken parm with pasta, and they have creamy pesto chicken pasta as well as pizzas and Caesar salad with or without chicken, and a greens and grains salad as well, all ranging from 10 to 14 each. They do have sides you can get like cheese, garlic bread, tomato bisque soup, and cookies, a cookies and cream cupcake for dessert. When I was reading online, people actually say this is the worst restaurant in Animal Kingdom, but they're probably really big foodies, and they, for picky eaters like us, this is a great place that has some healthy options. Like Maddie really likes the salad here the last time we were there, as well as some non-pizza options if you don't want pizza. They're the typical smaller kind of puffy pizza that are a little bit, thicker crust, and typical Disney pizza, like the same thing you used to be able to get at the Pizza Planet restaurant in Hollywood Studios when that was there, or Pizza Rizzo, and was temporarily home to an annual pass holder lounge in the summer of 2002, which makes sense to my memory because this is when we were hitting the Disney parks pretty hard around, 1999 to 2003. And the annual pass holder lounge section was an outdoor area. And per an All Ears article that I found, it actually had a television, water cooler, board games, which was funny to me, card games, and a Star Wars animated pinball machine, which I did remember the pinball machine once I saw the picture of it. I actually have a little picture here that I had inserted into the notes to refresh our memory. I thought that was really funny. Do you remember this? We talked a little bit about this when we were talking about pass holder lounges on the last Epcot section, but what do you remember about this restaurant, Dad, other than it being a very frequent stop for our family?
Yeah, the pizza was pretty much Disney fare, like pizza is a pizza Rizzo or whatever they call it
Yeah,
now.
uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just like that. I keep thinking it's the other one with the
Pizza Planet, yeah.
yeah, thank you for helping me out.
Yeah.
It's late. Yeah, so no, I do remember that going there quite often. Well, I'm always good. I'm always up for pizza, even though it's Disney pizza. It's not all that great, but it works. And I do remember going to the pass holder lounge. We always thought it was fun. It's kind of since we're pass holders, let's go check all these lounges. And this was probably one of all of out of all of them that was it was kind of like in a lanai, which is kind of outdoorsy. It had a bunch of fans, but the humidity still knocks you on your back. So it wasn't very relaxing. Really, you're
Yeah.
kind of getting out of the heat, but you're not. It's not like air conditioned. But I remember going in there a couple of times, and it lacked the luster of the other pass holder lounges, like at Epcot and some of the other places. But yeah, we went there quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I remember too. And it's funny, I recommended somebody from home that was going there, like, where should we eat at Animal Kingdom? This was probably like 3 years ago. And I was like, Pizza Safari. And then they were like, this is this is not that good. There are so many other options. I was like, oh, so sorry. That's like where we always went. And I'm not as familiar with Animal Kingdom, so I had no idea about all these other offerings at the time. So it was just funny. They were like, "Oh, this was literally just like basic pizza." I was like, "Oh, sorry, that's what we eat at the parks."
Yeah.
Um, and then Creature Comforts is another restaurant, and this was June 2015 or so. I believe it was hard for me to find a date on this, June 18th, 2015. This is actually the Animal Kingdom Starbucks, which is just a regular Starbucks menu and some pastries as well as breakfast sandwiches. They do offer seasonal items as well as tea and plain little refreshers, so nothing super exciting there. And then Restaurantosaurus, which was another one we went to often. And this opened in April 22nd, 1998 with the park. The entrees include things like hot dogs, cheeseburgers, Cobb salad with or without chicken, fried chicken sandwich, and chicken strips. They also do have an Impossible spicy Southwestern burger too, that are about $10 to $15 each. And they do have plain fries as well as black garlic truffle and parm or cheese fries. Those are about 5 to 7 each separately. The desserts are cookies and cream cupcake, a s'moresasaurus shake, which sounds delicious, a vanilla shake with chocolate drizzle topped with dipped s'more and graham cracker crumbs and chocolate sprinkles, as well as they do just have plain chocolate and vanilla shakes. But something I remember about this restaurant is it used to be that during the day at lunch and dinner, it was a McDonald's stop, and they actually served McDonald's food until their sponsorship of Dinoland ended in 2008. And then Restaurantosaurus was a key location of the story plot for the whole Dinoland USA area of the park. So the little theming that they had said before the arrival of the paleontologists in 1947, it was a quiet fishing lodge in Sleepy Diggs County. When the fossils were discovered in the boneyard, the paleontologists would buy the fishing lodge and turn it into the headquarters of the Dino Institute, serving multiple functions as a museum, school, dormitory quarters, and mess hall for scientists and tourists. The Institute eventually outgrew the building, and a new museum, which is where dinosaurs are supposed to be, was built in 1978. The actual restaurant is divided into different areas. There's the central or old museum area, the dorms for the Dino Institute students, and the hip joint, which is a rec rooms with a 50s diner look and an old trailer connected to the building, as well as the Dinosaur Institute's motor pool, which is a garage where students have painted dinosaurs on the wall with engine grease. It did used to host a character breakfast, which is where we do have a good number of pictures, and it was Donald's Breakfastosaurus, and it was hosted there featuring Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, Goofy, and Pluto, with a story of them having recently discovered the fossilized remains of Donald's dinosaurian ancestors. And that ended in 2007 when character dining was moved to the Tusker House restaurant that is now in Africa. But I remember going to the breakfast, I remember the McDonald's, and I have been there since all of that. A few years ago, we stopped there. This is a space with a refillable drink station, so always key. You can refill your cups there. You can also refill your ice and water, and if you have your own cups, which is always a plus. But what do you remember about this restaurant, Dad?
I'm glad you mentioned the breakfast version of Restaurante Source. I don't know if I could say it. I remember going there and it was like I think it was like a breakfast buffet thing, wasn't it? I thought
I
it was
think
a lot
so.
of it was a lot of food, and we were all scoping that out because we got the best bang for our buck. And I remember going there at least once, maybe twice, when you kids were little, and it was really good. A lot of times their breakfast buffets are amazing. Granted, they're not inexpensive, but hey, you had all the characters there and everything, if I remember right. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was very good. I'm a real breakfast guy, so it was great.
Yeah, I think we went there with Aunt Julie and Cecily when we went to Animal Kingdom with them. And then I have other pictures with Grandma and Grandpa Risto there. So I think we
Okay.
went at least twice. But yeah, it was good. I do like that they had served, McDonald's food because that's like cheap and easy, there before. But now the food there is pretty, similar burgers, hot dogs, fries, stuff like that. And then Dino Bite Snacks, which is right outside of that area. It opened April 22nd, 1998. And it's an ice cream stand with things like Dino Dig ice cream sandwich, which is vanilla ice cream sandwich between two sugar cookies with chocolate sprinkles, cookie crumbs, and sugar bones, and a white chocolate dinosaur on top, which sounds delicious. They do also have just Haagen-Dazs scoops of vanilla chocolate or strawberry in a waffle cone. They do have ice cream cookie sandwiches, the old-fashioned sundae, floats, and just plain cookies or chips and Mickey pretzels as well, kind of ranging from $5 to $9. They do have fountain beverages here, but across the way, they do have some alcoholic options at Trillo Bites, which has different Dole Whip floats that are just plain. They do also serve buffalo chicken chips, kind of like nachos with buffalo chicken on top. They have a Rafiki wild berry and Dole Whip orange float and Zazu Dole Whip lime and coconut float, as well as this soft serve in a waffle cone. This is kind of where all the soft serve stuff is at Trillo Bites, and the more like scoop ice cream is at Dino Bite. And you can do different floats with Coke beverages. They do have water and then some alcoholic options like a golden margarita float with vodka and beers. So these are right outside of the Restaurantosaurus area, and they all are still open right now. Again, we're not sure when all the changes will be happening, and they'll be getting rid of all this to move to Tropical Americas, but most likely in 2026. The animal highlights in this section of the park include babirusa, spoonbills, anteaters, otter, catfish, cotton-top tamarin, tortoises, lemurs, flamingos, kangaroos, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex that's outside of the dinosaur ride. So lots of different stuff going on in this half of the park. There are also some characters over here, but again, a lot has changed. So Chip and Dale in their dinosaur costumes, I'm not sure if they're still there or not because of the changes with Dinoland. Daisy Duck is usually over in Dinoland. Donald is as well, and Goofy. Kevin, which is the bird from Up, is usually roaming Discovery Island. There's not necessarily a spot to wait for him to meet to do pictures. There also is Launchpad McQuack in Dinoland, who is from the DuckTales, I believe, show. And that one, again, not sure if it's still open. Mickey and Minnie, we talked about Pluto. And then Pocahontas is sometimes on the trail behind the Tree of Life in Discovery Island, Rafiki as well. Russell and Doug from Up are usually at the Wilderness Explorers Clubhouse. Scrooge McDuck can be there as well. Timon. And they do also have sometimes some random characters like Turk from Tarzan comes out. Actually, Jiminy Cricket sometimes comes out. So it just kind of depends on what's going on in Animal Kingdom. But yeah, there's not a lot of consistent characters right now because of all the changes with Dinoland. So it keeps changing. The old versus new. So we already did Tarzan Rocks versus Nemo. Otherwise, that would be a total no-brainer for this episode. But what about the Nemo show versus Festival of the Lion King? What would be your choice, Dad?
I would have to go with the Festival of the Lion King. I think it's a much more dynamic show. It's been there a long time, and I'm assuming it's still there.
It is. Yep. We'll talk about that on the next episode. It is still there. And yeah, I agree. It's a great show. I think that one, yeah, is a lot more upbeat and exciting. I love the Lion King music, so that's also, a plus for
Right.
sure.
Mhm.
And I think the runtime, I think it's a little bit shorter. 40 minutes for a show for kids to sit still is a long time. I think the
Mhm.
Lion King one is more like 20 or 30 minutes. Let me see. Yeah, the runtime, so it's 30 minutes long, so just a little bit different. And it is an air-conditioned amphitheater as well. So yeah, I remember which we can talk about. We'll talk about that next week. I'll save that for next week because we saw a celebrity at that show one time, and I'll
We
see if
did, yes.
yeah. But yeah, I agree. The Festival of the Lion King is a great show. I would pick that over Nemo as well. And then our trivia this week. So our Animal Kingdom trivia question is. Ooh, where's my button? What was the originally intended name for Animal Kingdom? Is it Disney's Animal Kingdom Reserve, Disney's Wildlife Kingdom, Disney's Wild Kingdom, or Disney's Wild Animal Kingdom? Oh gosh.
Disney's Wild Kingdom.
Disney's Wild Kingdom. Okay. I'm gonna say Disney's Wild Animal Kingdom. Let's see. Oh, Disney's Wild Animal Kingdom. So close. I mean, basically the same answer. But okay, good. Perfect. Well, that is everything for this week. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. We will get into the second half of the park next week and kind of wrap up Animal Kingdom before we move on to our next series, which we will kind of talk to you guys about after next week. But thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Have a great week.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give us a follow on Instagram at Soarin' Around WDW Pod, where we share fun reels, throwback photos, and dive into our old versus new debates. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. And for our Spotify listeners, a follow and a 5-star review would mean the world. If you're listening on Apple, hit that 5-star button and leave us a written review as well. Thanks again for joining us. See you next time.